Hello and welcome to Finding Your Frequency. I'm Brian Sexton, and today with us is Chris Ramaglia from BroadBased. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Doing well, Brian. How are you?
I'm great. Your shirt says Next Generation Marketing. What is that?
Sure, it's a great question. So next generation marketing, at least for us, is always looking ahead, right? So we help our clients grow. That's really our mission statement.
Right.
There's different tactics that we do. There's different metrics that we follow, different results that we're going for. But ultimately, we're looking for growth. And in order to do that, especially nowadays, you really have to be looking forward and you have to be looking at what's next. One of the biggest things I love about the marketing field is that it's always changing. Right. And that, again, forces you to be forward thinking. If you kind of say, okay, look, we want to be really good at this one thing, and then in a year from now, that one thing either isn't as popular or could just go away. You don't want to be pigeonholed into that. So we're always looking at what's next.
Since you bring that up, what are you really good at? Is there one area in particular right now in 2025, sure, right, that you say this is what we do best, or are you broad-based?
Well, that's a great question as well. I might have to steal that, actually.
I do, please do.
I would say lead generation. You know,
okay,
we've really distilled our capabilities and our offerings down in two categories. First one is lead generation. Second one is fractional CMO, or Chief Marketing Officer. So a lot of people are familiar with that model in terms of like a fractional CFO. Where a lot of companies will hire out that expertise. So that's on the strategy side. On the tactical side, it's lead gen. Because right now, with the economy being the way it is, companies need a steady flow of qualified new business opportunities. And we've really developed a niche in that space and to have some differentiators that we're able to get really, really strong results, despite what's happening out there with some of the economic conditions.
Well, your experience becomes your expertise, and then now you introduce something like artificial intelligence, yeah, which seems to be creeping in to every sector of business and life. How do you sell the fact that you're always looking next generation, but you're bringing the past and your experience into the equation, because that's what makes you good at what you do?
Sure, this is starting to feel like one of our sales pitches, because a lot of people ask that question.
Listen.
And I love it. It's so basically what we always say is, so we've been around since 1996. So,
okay,
we started as a branding and identity firm with my business partner had founded the firm. And so what we always like to say is we've kind of crossed the bridge from traditional marketing into digital or next generation marketing. So a lot of firms that are starting up now, they only know the digital side, which can include AI and some advanced technologies, but they don't have that strong background in roots with branding and identity and really, deep marketing strategy and the insights that come along with that. So like I always say, we've really bridged that gap. And can kind of, wear both hats, which it provides a lot of value to our clients.
But you got to have balance.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to figure out how to use both of those.
Absolutely.
What does an ideal client look like for you?
So ideally, I'd say our most successful engagements involve companies that have really invested in their own marketing team,
okay,
and have kind of like a senior level marketer on staff, whether all the way up to a CMO, or it could be a director or VP of marketing, someone that speaks our language, someone that can advocate for us, and really, like I say, understands the value of what we're doing and can kind of sell that to their leadership so that everything is aligned and we just get to have fun and help them grow and get more leads.
All right, it felt like a marketing pitch there for a moment. Now it's going to feel like a grilling. Are you ready for the red hot spotlight? It's going to be like 60 minutes. Everyone has a defining moment.
Sure.
What is yours?
I would say last year I became CEO. I had I'd entered into BroadBased with a partnership agreement, so I initially had a minority ownership interest, and have kind of built that over the years since 2015. So
okay,
so 10 years, which that's what we were just talking before.
Fast,
it goes by fast.
The hair get a little gray,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you're like, where did the time go?
I'm told that makes you look more distinguished.
It does.
So I'll take
in your case, it does. In mine, it's not really working.
So, and that, I would say that was a defining moment. I mean, I owned a company, a very small company, when I had originally left my previous position. But having a team under me, having people that believed in me, kind of like the buck stopped with me. I think that was certainly, from a leadership standpoint, really helped define me. As far as like what my vision was for my company, and then also personally what I wanted to do with the rest of my career.
Give me an obstacle that you had to overcome. And at the time, it probably seemed
Sure.
like a mountain.
Oh, there's just so many as a small business owner. But I would say, COVID certainly was a big challenge. Being in a space where it's funny because now we're dealing with some economic uncertainty, and people say, well, marketing is one of the first things to go, which I happen to think is, you don't want to do that.
Asinine.
I might have a vested interest in that. But, for COVID, it was just like, Chris, what do we do? For the first time, my clients, it was almost like they were speaking to me on a personal level more than a professional level for really the first time in my career. So it was challenging to kind of have to adjust to that, have to become really good at that if I wanted to keep those clients. And not only were we able to help them kind of thrive through that period, but also our own agency. So I think that was certainly, I would categorize that as an obstacle.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And
Yeah.
COVID is a very popular answer here
Yeah.
because it's so recent. It still sticks in our memory. You're obviously a successful business owner, husband, father. Advice. What is a tip that you would give to somebody in any category of life about success and how you balance things?
Sure. I think from the successful standpoint, and again, this goes back to being kind of a small business owner and having that entrepreneurial spirit. You have to believe in yourself before you can expect anybody else to. And that might sound a little cheesy.
No, it
but
doesn't.
I've learned it firsthand, and I've seen it for myself. I've seen it for some of my peers, and unfortunately, I've seen it work the other way for people that don't really have that core belief in themselves, and they start off on a rocket ship, and then it just kind of peters out.
Did you always believe in yourself, or did you have to find a
I'd
book
love
or a
to.
mentor or a podcast or some way to create a deeper belief?
I'd love to lie and say that I always did. I think we all have those moments where we kind of question our faith and, man, am I doing this right? Am I doing the right thing? Period. Am I going in the right direction? I'd say, I like to read a lot. I think you can really gain a lot of insight from different books. But I've been very fortunate to have some mentors in my life, both personally and professionally, that have really helped me through some of those rough patches. And
Give me a book.
just kind of remind me. I would say right now I'm reading Chris Voss. He was a former FBI negotiator, and it was Never Split the Difference.
Never split the
And
difference.
it's negotiation
Got
tactics.
that, folks? Never split the difference.
Negotiation tactics, but really it's not just for business. I mean, it's how you can talk to your spouse, how you can talk to your children, friends, relationships, and not so much negotiating to get the advantage on somebody,
Right.
but to get the outcome that's a win-win. And nowadays it feels like things can get kind of cutthroat. It's really nice to again be absorbing some material that encourages you to be positive and find the good in every situation.
Chris, where do folks who watch the Daily News Network and who tune into this show, where do they find you? And we'll put this in our show notes.
Sure. So our website's bbased.com.
Okay.
I'm very active on LinkedIn. We're very B2B focused, so LinkedIn is good. Facebook as well. Trying to get a better presence on there, but my kids are both telling me to get on TikTok, which I don't think I'm going to go that route just yet. But website.
Do you dance? I mean, that's a good reason to be on TikTok. from what I
Not
understand.
well enough to be on TikTok. No.
All right. Thanks so much for joining
Absolutely.
us.
Thank you for
Greatly
having me.
appreciate it. We'll
Likewise.
put all of that information in our show notes so you can find Chris Ramaglia. And we'll see you next time here on Finding Your Frequency.